Are you ready to unlock your full potential and maximize your productivity? Look no further than Productivity Smarts, the ultimate audio podcast hosted by renowned productivity expert Gerald J. Leonard. In every episode, Gerald shares captivating stories, invaluable tips, and cutting-edge strategies that will transform the way you approach productivity. Whether you're looking to reduce stress, overcome overwhelm, or simply get more done in less time, Productivity Smarts has got you covered. But that's not all. You'll also gain inspiration from real-life success stories of individuals who have achieved greatness through productivity. Plus, you'll learn the latest tools, techniques, and habits that will help you achieve a new level of happiness and fulfillment in your personal and professional life. So why wait? Join us every week as we delve into the exciting world of productivity and help you unleash your full potential. Get ready to take your productivity to the next level with Productivity Smarts. As a productivity expert and host of the Productivity Smarts podcast, Gerald J. Leonard has been a proud supporter of Kiva since 2011. Kiva is a non-profit organization that helps entrepreneurs in third world countries access the capital they need to start or grow their businesses. By making a small loan through Kiva, you can help these entrepreneurs achieve their dreams, support their families, and contribute to their local economies. And with a repayment rate of over 96%, your loan can be re-lent to another entrepreneur once it's repaid, creating a ripple effect of positive change. So if you're looking for a meaningful way to make a difference in the world, consider making a loan through Kiva. With loans as small as $25, anyone can be a microlender and help change lives. Visit kiva.org to learn more and start lending today.
Well, today I'm speaking to Ariel Vox, an award-winning author of Crack the L.U.C. Code. Ariel's masterfully blends psychology, storytelling, and leadership to help individuals unlock their hidden strength. Known for captivating audiences worldwide, Ariel empowers people to transform their life challenges into meaningful breakthroughs, guiding them towards unparalleled productivity and personal fulfillment. Ariel, how are you?
Hi, Gerald. I'm feeling wonderful, very excited.
Excellent, excellent. Well, if you've listened to any of my podcasts, I always ask a couple of questions, and that is, what is your favorite style of music?
Well, I actually play the piano. I'm a
Okay.
professional musician, and I used to play on stages. I played Bach Piano Concerto. This is probably my most favorite piece ever. Yes, I also love Bach Partita number 6, another favorite. So Bach is my favorite composer because he creates several lines of music, and
Yes.
each one has different melody, but they blend beautifully together. So the intelligence of Bach's music is beyond comparison.
Yes, yes.
I also like rock music, and the reason is
Okay.
probably because I grew up during the communism. We were not allowed to listen Western music,
Right.
especially rock music. It was considered detrimental to culture.
I gotcha. Well, that's awesome. So you're a professional piano player and you love rock music, but you also play classical music and you love Bach concertos and Bach suites and things like that. I remember being in college when I was studying, because I studied the bass, and I did a lot of the Bach cello suites on the double bass. And so those are really great. And you're right, his interpretation and his ability to write is amazing. What is also amazing is now we look back on him and we are in awe, but he was basically writing music to just put food on the table during the time. And he would actually write different choral pieces and things like that on a weekly basis for the churches and to keep things going. So, we're in awe of him now. But at the time, he was just trying to make a living,
Yes, yes.
which is amazing.
Very
Yeah.
sad that talent doesn't get appreciated in time, but
Right.
it has to be. We have to put ourselves forward. So
Yes.
one day, sooner or later, our material will be discovered and people will benefit from it, even if it's after our time. So that's very exciting. We can
Exactly.
continue.
Well, listen, let's talk about your book, The L.U.C. Code, Cracking the L.U.C. Code. In the book, you talk about 4 personality archetypes. Now, how does understanding these archetypes lead to greater productivity for, whether you're professional or you're creative like ourselves in your endeavors? And then also, what are the 4 archetypes?
Well, Gerald, it's actually absolutely critical. And the reason productivity is very low sometimes, or with some people, some employees, is because often they remain misunderstood.
Okay.
And even their strengths could be completely misunderstood into weaknesses, or every personality expression, as I call them, they're like on a spectrum. So they have positive and what appears negative weaknesses, so it's not so good qualities. But
Right.
actually, by overcoming these negative qualities, they achieve their superpowers. But to achieve your superpowers, you need to actually understand your personality so you can see exactly what the problem is so that you can solve it. And let me go into examples so you can understand. I love giving visual examples because people understand images and stories, not letters, words, or numbers.
You're right, exactly.
Yeah, so L.U.C. is an acronym, an acronym for 4 animals. And again,
Okay.
I've chosen to give them faces so people can understand how these animals operate. And it's very important to say they exist in all of us. No one is just one expression of personality, but some of them are more dominant than others.
Okay.
And I can explain probably later why is that. So L.U.C., just think about the word luck. L stands for lion. So lions are the goal-oriented, results-driven people. They're the highest achievers. Just imagine the lion chasing the prey, and their results are very quantifiable. They either got the antelope or didn't.
Right.
And also, lions, they get excited by big goals. They would never go to chase a mouse. They would go to chase an antelope. So once you understand that you have the lion personality expression and it's predominant in you, you need to understand that you shouldn't set small goals because they will not excite you. Doesn't mean you shouldn't break down big goals into smaller achievable parts, but you need to have a big goal. Whilst you will see with some of the other personalities, this will not work at all. So you will see the differences. So also, lion are the fire personality. And you can imagine the mane of the lion. It looks like fire.
Right.
That's how you remember it. And because they're fire, when the fire gets a little bit too much, the fire can become a little bit bossy, big-headed, a little bit arrogant, a little bit difficult to approach. Like if you see a lion in the jungle, you wouldn't dare going too close. So that's important to understand about the lion personality. Then we have U, and it stands for umbrella cockatoo or parrot. So why parrot? Because parrots are, first of all, talkative. Parrots are the most talkative personality expressions. They're colorful, they're vibrant, they're community and people-oriented, communication-oriented. They love people. And why umbrella is important? Because it's not just any parrot, it's a parrot with an umbrella. So big personality, charming. They immediately capture the spotlight.
Okay.
And parrot flies in the air. So you remember parrot is the air element. And also parrot, you can imagine the parrot with open wings. They have open body language, unlike the lion. Then we have the coral. Coral lives in water, and coral is the water element.
Okay.
So a coral sits on the ocean bed, and even when the storms on the surface are huge, the coral remains calm and peaceful. So this is the peace and balance and harmony based personality. That's what they look for. They're scared of conflict more than anything else. And also corals in nature absorb the shock wave so that they can protect the shore. That's how you remember coral, their protective personality.
Right.
And then we have koala, and the easiest way to remember is koala. Koala people are focused on quality. Quality. So they're very analytical. They do the deepest research possible. But because they're so deep, they can go into analysis paralysis. In fact, they're the only personality expression that can go deep into analysis paralysis. Because they're perfectionists, and to them, it's never perfect enough. So they would procrastinate because they think it's not perfect enough. And actually, realistically, their work is probably way better than anybody else's, but they don't believe in it. So if you have a koala employee, you need to understand this so that you can help them and actually show them that their work is really good, because they don't have the confidence. A koala person may perfect, and never get the courage to launch.
So in other words, they're just kind of like in the laboratory working on it and trying to make sure it's perfect, but never get it out there in front of people.
Exactly. And I decided to give you today a very fun image and story how the L.U.C. personality would talk about cars, so that you
Okay.
can see the differences very, very, very clearly.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
a lion would be the car salesman. So allow you to be fast, to get faster to your goals, to the places where you want to go. A car
Right.
will make you independent, and it will be reliable. So you can use it anytime you want. You don't have to be dependent on schedule. So lions, again, results-driven people. So that's what the lion person will be talking to you about
Okay.
no delays, more control, bigger impact, how a car will allow you to maximize your results. A Parrot person would be the car enthusiast. So they will be talking to you what kind of adventures you can go to. Just feel the hum, play the music, bring friends with you, make memories, be happy, joyful, drive to fun locations for holidays. That's what the Parrot would be talking about. So you already
Yeah.
can see
The
how huge
difference.
the difference is.
Right.
But now it gets even deeper. Let's talk about the coral. So coral would be the car instructor because they're so routine focused. They want to simplify complicated things into understandable, simple explanations and routines. So a coral will be teaching you how to use the systems of operation. They will give you step by step. So first, press the clutch, then press the gear. They'll be talking how to make your driving experience predictable, how to follow the rules, when to fuel the car, when the light is on, how to brake slowly. They will make everything simple, predictable, easy to understand, easy to follow, because they don't like stress, they don't like changes. They want to follow a routine. And then we have the koala. Koala would be the car mechanic. They can see everything in such depth. That's the reason why it's difficult for them to go and just communicate simple message, because they can see so much beyond what anybody else can see. So when a car mechanic sees a car, they see the braking system, then the sensors, the cooling system, the exhaust, the cylinder, the shock absorber. This button is for this purpose, the other button for other purpose. They drill into the details. They want you to get full, deep understanding. And like when I got my previous car, and the car salesman, he started explaining to me everything in such detail, like he gave me full manual. And at the time, I just wanted him to tell me, that's the button to start the car. That's because I was using an automatic car for the first time, and this model as well for the first time. So I just wanted him to tell me the most basic things so I can get the car back home. But he gave me the full detail, and this
Yeah.
stressed me out. So
Right.
you need to understand the personality of the other person, and it's very important that people give us subtle cues all the time, but you need to learn to read them, because we instantly go into the default mode of being ourselves, when actually this is like going to France and speaking German because that's who you are. It doesn't work.
Right.
You need to take a dictionary, ensure good Wi-Fi so you can have a good translator up. You still have to be authentic, but translate yourself into a language that other people understand.
Gotcha. That's a great analogy. That's a great story with the car example, because you can see the different personalities with the lion, the parrot, a party waiting to happen kind of person, the clam. It's like, okay, just keep it steady and simple and let's make sure we follow the rules. And then the koala that is giving you all the details about the instructions and giving you the manual when you just want to push the button to get home. To start the car and get home, and you'll learn it as you go. So no, that's a great example. Now you do talk about in the book that about the weaknesses, and you suggest that weaknesses can be our greatest strengths. Can you share a little bit more about that and how to embrace our weaknesses to improve our productivity?
Well, it's only when you understand your weaknesses well, you can overcome them.
Right.
And actually, I firmly believe that behind your weakness is where your greatest strength is hidden. But you
Okay.
need to fight. You need to fight for it because you have natural core gifts given to you as soon as you come on this earth, because you have to survive somehow. But
Right.
for the real strengths, you have to fight. So, for example, the lion. We said the lion can be unapproachable, can be big-headed, can be dismissive of other people's feelings as well,
Yeah.
because they're so focused on the goal that at some point it doesn't matter how they get there. They will win the war, but they might lose all the soldiers. So that's a weakness that they don't consider. So how do you overcome it? I love to give this example. So we said a lion is fire, but then coral is water. So if you have too much fire, how do you calm it down? You put some water. You
Right.
need to adopt some of the other qualities. Or if you cannot adopt these other qualities, maybe find a partner. So you two do the work together. And maybe you strategize, but your partner goes to discuss with employees. And once the lion overcome this, they can be completely unstoppable. They become invincible. Just imagine superheroes like Hulk, like Thor. That's who they become. But they need to learn how to pay attention to people's needs. Or also, the lion would say, we need to achieve this goal, but they wouldn't take into account koala, for example, detail-oriented personality. But they wouldn't take into account that the coral needs stability. So if you don't give your employee who is a coral stability and clarity, they will procrastinate because they will lose self-confidence. And once you understand this, you can adapt your approach. So you don't just want them to achieve the goal, but you take into consideration their personality. For example, parrots, they have many ideas. They come up with many ideas, but then they can very easily lose focus because they come up with so many new ideas, they can't complete on the old idea. So if you're a lion and you have a parrot employee, you need to strategize how to improve their focus, and then you will improve their productivity and performance.
Gotcha.
So, for example, parrots, they can literally open any door, but also, again, they're distractible. They need to learn how to focus. And there are techniques for this. We can get into this, but there's so much material, I don't know where to start from.
Yeah, no, this is great because, one of the things I was thinking about was just, what kind of actions people can take. And it sounds like the challenge or the actions that people can take regarding their personal challenges is to, one, study to know their personality, their strengths and their weaknesses, but also to then determine how to work with the other personalities, how to work with the parrot if you're a lion. Like, when I read the book, I'm definitely a lion. And Gary Smalley is a psychologist and a marriage counselor who had an assessment that was similar to yours. And he used the lion, but he used lion, beaver, otter, and golden retriever. But yours is different in the way that you've put it together and the way he's put his together. But, I could relate to what I read in yours about the lion, because when I first came into that approach or idea, I realized that, as a lion, I was very focused on big goals and getting things done. And I was kind of like a mixture between a lion and a koala because I'm also very detail oriented when
Yes.
it comes to, because I'm being a musician, you see the big picture, but you also look at the notes on the page and you can read the music and you can improvise. And so it kind of trains your brain to go after big goals, but be detail oriented. And for some people, that's just overwhelming to be around me or for me to be around them when I'm like really on. And so I had to become aware of that and realize that, hey, I need to do things in my meetings. I need to approach people. I need to step back and analyze who's on my team and make sure that I understand their personality and accommodate or adjust the way I handle things or the way I speak or the way I run projects to include the clam, include the koalas and include the parrots so that it's the meetings are fun and it meets their needs, but it's also calming, but it's also detail oriented to a point, but it also gets things done. And that's a tall task. But it does require really thinking through those things. And I think your book does a great job with some of the assessments that you provide in the book and questions that you ask to get people to consider their personalities as well as the people that are around them. And you can even use it in your family, right? You can use it in your
Oh,
your
absolutely.
civic organizations or your church or your family.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. And by the way, because you mentioned you are lion and koala, everybody is a combination.
Yes.
But just some of the personality expressions are predominant. Sometimes it's just one, but usually it's about two. And lion koala is a very typical combination, actually, and I'll tell you why. Because I compare the luck personality also with the four cardinal directions: north, east, west, and south. And lion is the north. Why? Because lion points to the North Star. They
Right.
point for the direction. Lion is the captain of the ship. And that's how they look. They look at Polaris and want everybody else to follow them to take them to Polaris. That's how you remember it. Koala, on the other hand, Koala is the south, and Koala lives in the south, so that it's very easy to remember.
Right.
And who goes to the south, like Antarctica? Always explorers, people who want to find a deep truth, right? Who want
Right.
to dig in the layers of history. So Koala, deep people, that's why south. And notice if you go east and west, you can go east and west forever. You can go like Europe, Asia, America, Europe, Asia, America forever. But if you go north and south, the moment you get to the north, you'll be forced to look at south. You have no other choice, right? So
Right.
lion personality actually forces you at some point when you reach your goal to look south, which might be experienced as a crush because you achieved the goal and now, oh, what am I doing now? So consider this as well, but very practical, immediate implementation of what you can do to work smarter would be you set a big goal first, because without the big goal, you are not a lion. You are not native to your nature. You need a big goal. Mouses don't excite you enough, but then you have to break it. And you need to have systematic checkpoints. And also, don't have 10 goals at a time. Have 3 top goals. Have templates, have reminders for recurring tasks, because for you, these smaller tasks of smaller importance might not be enough. So you might overlook. And when I say you, I mean a lion person, not necessarily 100, because everybody's a mixed personality, but a lion person would need not just to delegate the low value tasks, but understand that they can overlook the low value tasks as well,
Yes.
some of
Yeah.
them. So you need to make sure there is a system to check that this has been done. Otherwise, there might be gaps in quality, which
Exactly.
koala person would never allow. It's the opposite problem. They will have so much quality, they will never launch. But lion person, so obviously in this regard, lion koala is quite a good combination, as long as you know how to use the best of both worlds, if I can
Yes.
say it this way.
Yes. No,
um,
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of
yeah.
sense.
And just bear in mind, a lion could have a lot of unrealistic expectation. And I think it's good to speak most about lion, not so much about the others, because when you speak productivity, that's a very lion thing, isn't it?
Right.
Everybody is productive in a different way, but in your way, it's more like leadership productivity kind. So this is the lion energy anyway. But the lion can have a lot of unrealistic expectation because they might be trying to do too much or expect other people to do too much or to get their vision and their decisiveness, and other people may not feel exactly like this. They may need a little bit more pushing. So this is one big mistake of the lion. But once they understand personalities, they also know how to support them. As for example, also they may over rely on pressure, which may cause burnout for themselves and for
Yes.
others. And they're very critical to themselves in the first place, but also to others
Yes.
because they're critical to themselves. So it's so important. And again, employee needs are completely different as well. For example, the
Exactly.
lion, yes, the lion would need direction and motivation. They need tools to measure results, whilst the parrot needs more like fun and new ideas. So not
Yes.
boring workplace. They need novelty. So maybe use analogies, storytelling, playful visuals to help them feel excited to come to work.
Right.
Then coral, on the other hand, would need routine, predictability, stability. They don't like change. So be very careful how you introduce change. And also for a coral, it's very important, like to follow standard operation procedures. You can give them rules of thumbs, anything to help them feel comfortable with making a decision. They're not easy to make a decision because they fear conflict. But if they have solid structure, it's very easy to make a decision, isn't it? Because you are taught if X happens, do Y. If not, do Z. ABC. Either do this or do this. And they don't have to struggle with making a decision. Whilst koala needs their questions answered. Every detail. So, for example, this podcast, is it audio? Is it video? This is in the mind of a koala. For koala, this is a big thing. For someone else, it's nothing. We do the podcast, whatever. But they need to know how to prepare so that they can be perfect. For
Right.
example, when I pack my suitcase to go on a trip, sometimes I plan my trips 6 months in advance. I mean, not the trip itself. What am I going to put in my suitcase? And and then I have a lot of clothes on my bed, and then I pick, maybe I will use this one with this one with this one. I plan every single outfit that I will put in my suitcase. Someone else would just go and pick it, but not the koala person.
Right. When I go on trips, I will either think a couple of days before or the day before or the morning of and pack my bag and know exactly what I'm going to put in there and be done.
That's the lion way. That's the lion way. So you can see the difference is huge.
Yes. Yes.
But imagine if you are a family. Imagine if you and I are a family. We are going on holiday, and you are up at 3 o'clock, for example, to prepare your suitcase. Because you're a lion, you want everything to be in order, everything to be structured. But then I'm a parrot. And just an example, not you and I, that's just an example. Sorry if you're married, maybe it wasn't the right example, but if I'm a parrot and I want fun and I want unpredictability and I want surprise and novelty, and you want to follow a rigid structure, we'll go at 9:14 exactly a.m. We have to be at this location. At 9:26, we have to visit the museum. And I'm a parrot, I want freedom. And this can cause a lot of conflicts in family. Yeah, so you need to understand personality, and this explains so many situations that you couldn't understand any differently.
You actually have a good example of that in the book where a family of four is preparing to
Yes.
go on a vacation. That's why you grabbed the analogy. So I knew where you were going. It's like the son's into technology, the daughter is like she's into fashion and taking pictures. The wife is like she's probably the lion, and the father was just kind of like, "Oh, it's gonna be okay. We'll get there. It's gonna be fine." I mean,
Yes.
and so by the time they get to the airport or wherever they're going, they're all stressed out because of just their own interactions because they don't really
Exactly.
understand each other. So, point well taken, and it's and again, it's a great analogy, and it does make a big difference, especially when you're going through something as a family. Let's say you have the loss of a loved one, and everyone handles grief differently, or you have turmoil because of the instability in the world and prices are going up like we're experiencing now globally with all the challenges that are going on and people are losing their jobs based on the personality type, you're going to handle that stress differently. But if you understand your personality type, then you can work together or you can understand what the other person may be feeling or going through. But if you don't and you just look at it through your own lens, myself being a lion koala type personality, I would end up being very frustrated, like, "Hey, we got a big goal here. We got details to get done." And the parrot is saying, "I know it's stressful, but I just want to hang out and have some fun right now. I need to relax or I need to go out and do something." The clam is like stressed out because things are changing and they don't like change. So understanding these personality types and the interaction between them is really important in all different scenarios, not only just with work or being productive, but also in just, like you said, going on a trip and our family or dealing with life as things happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
So listen, you also have had a chance to speak on a workshop or stage with Les Brown and Jack Canfield. And I remember you believe you said in your book that you were speaking between them, like one spoke first, and then after you spoke, the other one spoke. And these are two heavy hitters. I actually wrote a book with Les, and I've been interviewed by Jack. So
Oh,
yeah,
amazing.
you and I know the same people. So what was the biggest takeaway for you in being on stage and speaking with Les Brown and Jack Canfield?
Don't make yourself small. On the contrary, when I played the piano, my piano teacher told me when you have two very good performers right before you and right after you need to make sure you triple your enthusiasm because otherwise you will blend in and nobody will notice it because you're being compared subconsciously to the great player before you and the great player after you. So you need to triple and quadruple your enthusiasm and give absolutely the best of yourself, and that's what I did. I spoke with such enthusiasm, with such energy. I just loved every moment of my speech, and people loved it. And they sent me like hundreds of positive testimonials and reviews and just exclamation of how much they loved what I said. And the next thing is Les Brown. He helped me to choose the subtitle of my first book. Yeah, I had a name that was a subtitle that was a little bit more complicated, more longer, and he just suggested to call it "How to Turn Failure into Success," which is simple but
Right.
instantly explaining what the book is
Understandable.
all about.
Yeah, he's really good at that. He's really good at being able to break stuff down and the way he speaks. So yeah, both of them are. Both Les and Jack are. So listen, this has been a great conversation. And again, the book is cracking the luck code. Can you give one practical thing that someone who's listening could put into practice that could really dramatically help their productivity based on the things that you talk about in your book?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just say something on the
Sure.
previous topic because I feel it's very important to say it. Les Brown is Les Brown. He will
Yes.
always be Les Brown because he's the only Les Brown. And
Right.
same with Canfield. But don't think low of yourself because you are the only you. There will never be another you. So you can give a completely different angle that even Les Brown can't give. And this
Right.
is not to speak any low of him. On the contrary, he is absolutely the perfect Les Brown who will ever exist. But you are the absolutely perfect you who will ever exist. And we have such unique personality, like not just unique fingerprint,
Right.
But we see the world completely differently. We see the world in different colors. And just one word sometimes can completely transform the way you live your life.
Yes.
Be very confident with the value you have to give, because there are people who you can reach, who Les Brown cannot reach. It's just because you are the person who will channel this specific message for this specific person. And also, if you have gone through specific trauma in your life, you can help these people. And someone else, doesn't matter who he is or who she is, they can't help them, because to help someone, you need to have walked in their shoes. Because if you have been hungry, the moment you see someone hungry, you instantly see it in their eyes. No one else may notice, but you will see hunger instantly, because you know what anger looks like. I mean hunger, not anger.
Right.
So know your value, and your value is not in just believing yourself in a self-confident way. That's not it. Your value is what you can give others, how you can help others. That's why we are here. If you think about a cherry, every cherry produces cherries, but every cherry has come from a cherry. No one just came from nowhere. We all step on the shoulders of giants. So be a giant so other people can step on your shoulders, learn from you, and then be the next cherry that will produce the next cherries.
These are great insights and great statements that you're making here, and points. And I think these are really great practicals people can take away. And I think it's really important to realize that you are uniquely you, and that you bring a lot of, as a person, bring a lot of value to the circumstances that you're in. And people need your energy wherever you are and whatever you're going through. People need your energy. So, Ariel, where can people learn about you, and where can people get your book?
They can go on my website, arielvox.com. That's ARIELVOX. It means the voice of the lion, Ariel Vox, arielvox.com. And I chose this name when I was in a lot of fear, and I chose to be the voice of the lion. And everybody can make this choice for themselves. And also my books on Amazon, and people can go on Amazon. And also I appear on a lot of podcasts, so they can search my name on YouTube, and they will find a lot of information. Today we speak about productivity. Next week I'll be talking about negotiations. Next month I'll be talking about pain management and the L.U.C. code, and a lot of variety of questions. So people just search for me and they will find me.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, Ariel, thank you so much for being on the Productivity Smarts podcast. You brought a lot of wisdom and insight. I love your book, and you did a great job in sharing your wisdom. And is obviously, going through the book, you did a lot of research and put a lot of thought into the approach and the information that you provided. So again, thank you for sharing your wisdom and making the world a better place, and helping us all to be a lot more productivity smart.
Thank you so much, Gerald, for having me. It was such a pleasure talking with you.
Excellent.
I really enjoyed this.
If you're enjoying the content and finding it valuable, we would appreciate it if you could take a moment and leave us a review. Your feedback is important to us and helps us reach a wider audience. If you leave us a 5-star review, it would mean the world to us. Not only does it help us improve the podcast, but it also helps us attract more sponsors and grow our community. Thank you again for your support and for listening to the Productivity Smarts podcast.
Thank you for tuning in to Productivity Smarts, where we help you achieve your goals and live your best life. We hope you've gained valuable insights and actionable strategies to boost your productivity and increase your happiness and fulfillment. Remember to apply what you've learned and keep striving towards your goals. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to our podcast for more inspiring episodes and expert advice from our host, Gerald J. Leonard. Until next time, keep pushing forward and unleashing your productivity smarts.